On November 30th, 2022, we made a video on this YouTube channel talking about how the Red Wings had the worst pairing in the NHL when you sorted it by certain statistics. This pairing was Ben Chiarot and Moritz Seider, and it was bad. Really bad. Moritz Seider was coming off a rookie season and everybody knew how good this guy was. He was the German Wall. The big, mean German machine. Seider was going out there and dominating fools with his reverse hits, his fluid skating and mobility, not to mention the legitimately potent offensive side he had to his game too. He was a great player last year. It's just, starting out in 2022-2023, playing beside Ben Chiarot, it was a really, really bad start for both of these guys combined. Sure, you saw Seider and the glimpses of talent that were still there throughout his game. He's only, 21 years old after all? But playing with a guy like Ben Chiarot, you really started to see just the lack of chemistry and the real lack of flow between both of these guys and their playing styles. You would think, in theory, having Ben Chiarot playing with Moritz Seider would allow Seider to maybe excel a little bit more, because Chiarot can be that stay-at-home defenseman who can just be the big body-checking guy. You don't really have to worry too much about defense if you're playing with Chiarot, but nah, it really just didn't work out. The advanced numbers were bad. Overall, it was bad, and we made that video back in November saying, yeah, no, it's the worst pairing in the league, because it technically was, if you sorted it by certain statistics. Well, it's now February 24th, and what is that? December, January, it's 3 months later. 3 months. And today we're making a completely different type of video about that same Moritz Seider and going over how he is stacking up with the rest of the NHL and its D pairings. Because Moritz Seider's new partner, Jake Walman, has been playing so well alongside of Seider that right now, Walman and Seider is the best pairing in the entire NHL when it comes to expected goals against per 60. This was Brian Fisher who tweeted this out. Good morning to everyone, especially Jake Walman and Seider, who have the best expected goals against average per 60 in the league as a pair. Now what that means, expected goals against per 60 minutes, is what kind of chances are these guys giving to the other team when they're on the ice. It calculates the quantity and the quality of chances that your pairing gives to the opposition, and it multiplies it out by a 60-minute time span. When you take a look at that, hey, Seider and Walman, per 60 minutes of game time, give up about 1.63 opportunities that should result in goals. And I say should because that's sort of the not really mathematical way to say it, but it's the way the formula implies it. It's an expected goal. Oh, there's a shot right there in the slot going 90 miles an hour, a one-timer opportunity. That probably should be a goal. In most circumstances, it should be. But Seider and Walman have been the top pairing in the NHL when it comes to the quality of chances giving up versus the amount of time that they're on the ice for. The other pairings you could see, Sebastian Aho and Scott Mayfield, Sealer, Ristolainen. Very interesting to see the Philadelphia Flyers on there. Very interesting as well to see Valimaki and Moser there, but I have been hearing very good things about Valimaki in the Arizona system. You got the Boston Bruins, they've got Lindholm and Clifton, they're very good together. Jones and McCabe is an interesting one, and then Valimaki Stetcher is also there too, because Valimaki is on here twice. He spent a lot of time with multiple line mates this season. Then you could see the rest of the list as it goes along. Devon Taves and Cale Makar, Brennan Dillon, Nate Schmidt, Calvin DeHaan, and Jalen Chatfield. But when it comes to all of these pairings, Walman and Seider, number one, baby. And in fact, the Walman train has gotten so big and so packed over the past few weeks, all gritties aside, of course, that you had yourselves the quote here from Walman himself. Take a look at this. Max Bultman went out there and asked Walman about this entire thing. His response, I think it's time to start putting respect on people's names. And, yeah, I love that. I love that sort of attitude that he's got. And I say attitude. Attitude can be construed as a bad word, but no, it's not a bad word here. The guy is playing like an absolute stud, and he's going out there and saying it. Yeah, I think I am playing like a stud. It's time that we put some respect on people's names. Walman, of course, was also followed up with a few other questions. This is another one. He was also asked about his contract status as a pending UFA, and said that he would leave that to Yzerman. I think we're building something here. That's all I'll say. And that has been the more, let's just say, overarching shadow in this entire conversation, because Jake Walman is indeed a 27-year-old defenseman. He is signed till the end of this season, making $1.05 million on the dot per year, and that's expiring soon. He's been playing very well. Sure, the numbers might not go out there and show off an extraordinarily refined, offensively productive defenseman. He's only got 10 points in 38 games played after all, but just his mobility, the responsibility, the confidence as well. He's been getting a lot more confident as the season has gone on, and it's really starting to show off in how he's moving around the ice. That really, I mean, for Walman to go out there and talk about it like this, yeah, no, he is playing like a pretty good stud right now. Him and Seider are a very good pairing. They've been very good at shutting down opposition, moving the puck up properly, and everything you wished that Seider and Chiarot would be has sort of been fulfilling itself here with the guy that the Red Wings got as a throw-in for the Nick Leddy trade all those months ago. In fact, here's a graph from Prashant about Moritz Seider and his 5-game rolling average game score. You could see that for the majority of the season, or not the majority, but for the first few months, he was a player whose game score was below 0, which means that he was an overall net negative player for the Wings in general. That's not a good sign for a guy that's coming off a Calder win. But once Walman was paired with Seider, you could see that his rolling 5-game average has been phenomenal ever since then. He has been well above 0. It's still over there. Sure, it's dipped a little bit the past little while here, but still, Walman has been helping out Seider in the best way possible, and he's been giving a lot of Red Wings fans some entertaining hockey behind it too. Obviously, the gritties come to mind, but just the regular play that he's able to exhibit, it's so good. And in fact, here's a tweet made by Andy and Rono, tweeting out their own wins above replacement chart. It's actually time to finally say that Jake Walman is legit a top 4 defenseman, maybe even a top pairing defenseman. He had great underlying stats in St. Louis, so back before he was even traded. He makes teammates better in Detroit as well, and the sample size is no longer small. He's a pending UFA, by the way. And you could see that his offensive wins above replacement number is 96%, his defense is 98%, his overall number is 97%. He's a very good defenseman, and you also had The Athletic that made their player cards throughout the year, and I think Jake Walman said that his value was akin to a $6 million defenseman at the NHL level, but I think that chart was made like a month ago or something, so I can't really find it now, but it was there, and the sample size was smaller back then than it is today, when you could arguably say that Walman has been playing just a tad better. And so, as this guy gets more confident, gets more comfortable, and he starts producing a little bit more, hopefully at least. I mean, 10 points is not terrible, but you would probably want to see a little bit more out of that, just for the sake of seeing more gritties. But this is an overall player that has been so good that the conversation about re-signing Olli Maatta has been already shifted to re-signing Walman too, because Maatta got the contract. We just gotta wait and see what happens with Walman, what happens with Larkin, what happens with Bertuzzi. Yzerman has his work cut out for him this offseason, but the plan right now, of course, based off of everything that we've been hearing, is that the Red Wings want to make the playoffs, and as a result, okay, going out there and keeping around your guys, just trying to get competitive to the point where you can win games and maybe squeak it at the wild card, that would not be all too invaluable in my opinion as well. It's just, the offseason might become a little bit too hot to handle depending on who stays and who goes and for how much money, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Jake Walman and his play this season, how Seider and Walman together have been the best pairing in the NHL when it comes to expected goals against per 60 minutes. That is a very good statistic to be number 1 in amongst all D pairings in the league. I want you to tell me your thoughts in the comment section. How much do you think Walman should get on the open market if he does go there? How much should he get with the Wings if he decides to re-sign and Yzerman gives him an appropriate contract? What are your thoughts and opinions about the pairing too? How has Moritz Seider looked ever since playing alongside of Walman and getting moved away from Chiarot? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 99, and bye.